I believe that if you want to be the best father, doctor, filmmaker, or axe craftsman in the world, you can. But you can't be the best father, doctor, filmmaker, and axe craftsman. I'm talking about the absolute top of the top, by the way. The Christopher Nolan, the Hippocrates, the...
Insert axe craftsman.
As far as we know, we only get one of these things, these lives, and we really don't get very much time. At one point or another, you're going to have to sacrifice one path for another, one job for another, one late night for an early morning. You can't do everything, and you certainly can't be the best at everything. And that's okay. But I think recognizing that is important to A, not make you beat yourself up when you can't or you're not, and B, help you decide what it is exactly you'd like to spend your time doing. I'm not here to tell you that because your dad's good at his job, he must be a crap parent. I'm saying we're all given the same 100 chips. If you invest 50 of those in being present for your family, you have less to spend studying the stock exchange. If you spend 30 on playing sport and keeping fit, you have less for working on your passion project, building that vintage car in your garage. None of these choices are wrong, but they're choices nonetheless. Someone out there is spending all 100 on studying biomedicine and will probably cure cancer before you do. But they might never make that film that they thought about doing. They might never rebuild that relationship with the old friend they think about from time to time. Our lives are finite, and we need to be okay with the fact that we won't be the best at everything. Social media will be the first to remind you that someone out there is better at something than you are. Of course there will be. You spent 35 chips on training for a marathon. They spent 36.
And Instagram will find that person and show you.
It's also important to note that not everyone's chips equate the same. 10 chips on exercise might be enough to keep you fit. Someone else might need 25. You might spend more chips training for that marathon than someone, but similarly lose to them. That's okay. Everyone's benchmark is different. We're all starting each chapter following a different one. Maybe they've been running all their life and you started a year ago. Even in early life, we have different benchmarks, different financial positions that dictate how many chips we get to spend working or playing as a child. And on a much smaller scale, your morning routine might take you 1 chip these days, but for someone else, maybe it took all 100 just to get out of bed today. There's a plethora of reasons as to why someone else's chips work differently, and equally as many reasons to cut yourself some slack. Don't compare your chips to someone else's. Only you know what you gave something and even what you could give. Social media makes you think that you can do it all because you see one person celebrating their child's first birthday, one person posting glorious home-cooked meals every day, one person graduating top of their class, and one person jumping out of a plane in Brazil. But what you don't see is the sleep deficit of the first-time mother, the boring, high-paying job to afford the fancy food, the stress build-up of studying, and the lost time with their friends and family while travelling. On top of that, these are all different people living different lives, who've all made different sacrifices. All that to say, you have to be content with the choices that you make without knowing the sacrifices others made to be ahead of you. Whatever your distribution of chips looks like is amazing, as long as it's right for you. I went to my annual university sports dinner recently, and when I saw all of the committees of different clubs, I thought, oh, it would have been nice to do that sport while I was at uni, make the most of it and all. But then I realised that each of these individual people only did one sport. And I was looking at the holistic image of all these different clubs, but for each of those people, they probably only did one. I look back on my journey and I realised that, yeah, I might not have done hockey or athletics, but throughout my years, I tried out loads of different sports. I didn't like getting put in a box, so I did strength and conditioning, kayaking, underwater hockey, run club, archery, badminton. I realised that this feeling of missing out I got was unwarranted because, like how I questioned whether I should have tried hockey, anyone else in that crowd that picked a sport in first year and stuck at it might have wished they'd have tried loads of different sports. And that's what I did. We all have a finite amount of time, and all that we can do is spend it how we want. The expectation that we can do it all and the inevitable disappointment when we fail such a task will only neglect the memories we did make. You have to be aware of the finite nature of life and your time. to give your priorities the time they deserve, and maybe say goodbye to some things. I wanted to be a doctor for a time. I spent 2 weeks in a hospital shadowing various doctors, watching surgeries, ward rounds, and clinics. I left those 2 weeks with an unprecedented appreciation of medicine and a drive I'd never experienced, knowing exactly what I wanted to do with my life. Then 2 weeks later, I flew to Zambia to stay with my mate's family on their farm. The sense of community they had there was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Family members were around the house every week, if not day. You'd meet uncles and aunties and never question if they were even blood related. I was welcomed into the family with open arms from day one, even given a Nyanja name, and I felt so deeply at home. I called my brother, whom I've constantly felt like I'm behind from.
Given that he's 13 years older than me.
I always wanted to grow up faster and catch up to him, always been wishing my own life away to get there, and he reframed the way I viewed my own life. He said that he was envious of me.
At least that's how I remember it.
He said that right now, the world is completely open for me and I can do whatever I want. My cardiologist brother told me that I had freedom. And whether it was in that moment or not, I began to realise that while I would absolutely love to be a doctor, it might have still been the career that I wanted most in life. There were too many other things I wanted to do with my life that being a doctor did not afford me.
No hate on doctors.
I know that in another universe I wholeheartedly chose that path. And if it's what you find your calling in, absolutely amazing. Go save people's lives, the world loves you for it. But it wasn't me. And I had to come to terms with the finiteness of my time and that there were too many other things similarly calling my name. Oscar Wilde said that if you know exactly what you want to be in life, a nurse or a teacher or a grocer or a judge or a soldier, you will become it. That is your punishment. Actually, to not know what you want to be, reinventing yourself every morning, not being a noun but being a verb, being moving in life, not being fixed in life, is a privilege. I think finding passion in life is awesome, but I'm also aware that I don't so much align with the passions of my 8-year-old self anymore. I think that as much as it's passion that gives life its saturation, it's important to not live and breathe by one colour. Life is too short to box yourself in. Just remember to stay fluid. Reassess your priorities every now and again, just to make sure you don't make it to 70 and have some heavy regrets you can't make up for. My dad wasn't a very present parent, and I think for all me and my brothers, it's now very important that we are. My middle brother is one of the best dads I know. He's put a lot of chips on that, and him and his wife work 4 and 3 days a week each to prioritise that. A choice that will inevitably bring in less money and slow their careers compared to full working weeks. Our dad preferred to invest a lot more chips into work so that our mum could raise us all without the burden of a job. Different choices, different sacrifices. My brother understands the sacrifice that he is making in his career and for what he and I deem as the more important priority. In life, there's value in everything. That's one of the beauties of it. Having a lie-in, meditating, rereading books from your childhood, a reunion with old school friends, taking your grandparents out for the day,
Arguing over which Uno rules you're playing with.
a week of late nights in the office to finish up a project, getting up early to watch the sunrise, a long hike for an amazing view. The list goes on, and everyone's list will be different. I think things mean more when you know what you're sacrificing for them. I value my sleep and rest a lot, but I've stayed up the last 3 nights in a row until like 4 or 5 a.m. just chatting with my mates. I knew the sacrifice would be a screwed sleep
A
schedule,
week before my exam.
but I did it anyway because I saw the value in it. But doing that chronically would make me lose out on a lot of other things, like fitness, studying, and loads of projects I want to work on.
Let alone daylight.
Everything in moderation is good, but it's useful to understand that scrolling social media means less time for writing that book. Staying up late playing games means less rest for your body, and going out drinking every night means less time for exercise and keeping fit. People tell you to do this, do that. I don't think you understand how little time we have. 29,000 days, by the way, on average. It might sound like a lot, but 6,500 of those you're a kid. And you don't know how many of the rest you're going to have the mind or body to do all the things you want to do. So don't waste your days. Don't waste them living someone else's life. You can't win when living someone else's life. There's no win in it for you. And there'll still beat you.
You won't have the passion they do for their life.
And what exactly would you win? Achieving someone else's goals? The car you never actually needed, the house that's actually too big, the high-paying, well-respected corporate job.
That you have to dissociate from to even turn up for.
Before you realise it, you've achieved someone else's dreams. That's why it never felt enough, because you ticked things off a list, but it wasn't yours. You get confused because other people are jealous and family tells you how proud they are. The only people you should try and make proud in this life are the 5-year-old and 90-year-old version of you. The world and your future are waiting for you. You get one life, don't waste it. You can't do it all, and I think that's a good thing. It makes your choices mean something. It gives value to your priorities. I think it's a cruel fact of life that loss is what gives things meaning. The finity of time is what makes allocating it a gift. So live fully. Do whatever you want. Just be aware and accepting of the sacrifices to be made in your stead. This isn't something to feel down about, by the way. I think it's amazing. We get one beautiful life. Don't waste your chips. Do whatever you truly want. Start a family. Prepare amazing home-cooked meals every day. Crush your exams. Throw yourself out of a plane over the Andes. Become a doctor, a filmmaker, a
Bloody axe craftsman.
Put the phone down, stop comparing, and let go of your ego. Go and be you, and unapologetically so. You get one life. Live yours.